What is up, everybody? TheAireaidLord's here. I'm doing this video a little later than I would have liked to. I was going to do it on the 1 week, basically start of the bye week for The Walking Dead not being on, now that it's the mid-season break and it won't be coming on. It was revealed that it won't be coming on until February 25th, so it's going to be a bit of a later wait than usual, because it's usually that first Sunday after the Super Bowl, which is Valentine's Day weekend. But not so much this time. I think that's because they had some schedule conflicting things, and there was that stuntman who died, and then I think I heard stuff about like a hurricane that came through. It might have been Harvey, one of the ones that hit Puerto Rico and Houston, which is fine. I mean, there's plenty of vlogs that we can do like this, and I figured, before the holiday season starts, I'm going to be busy. I don't know if I'll be putting up any gameplay footage or any more prediction videos like this, but I'll try to do one now. Where I kind of just review the half season. I did this last time for the first half of season 7, and just to review it in chunks. And then at the end of the season, I kind of look at the season as a whole and judge it in comparison to past seasons. So I don't know, the show's been getting a lot of backlash recently from critics, especially after spoiler warning, if you're not caught up to the mid-season finale, be warned, you shouldn't continue. But with Carl's untimely death, which nobody saw coming, because if you're a comic book reader, or if you just have even a little bit of common sense, you know that it probably wasn't the smartest thing to be killing off, a kid who, for all intents and purposes, was being hyped up as the next thing, as the person who was going to lead when Rick passes, or just whatever. I mean, the show has touted itself as reviewing the comic book material, following the story of Robert Kirkman's comics, and then deviating a little bit, but still handling the main events with the main characters. And I dare say that Carl's one of those characters, and the decision to have him die by a walker bite was just kind of, I don't know, it just really out of left field. And if it's all just so that Rick has a reason to spare Negan's life, then I mean, it better be a good reason. And I don't know, if I just hope it sits right with your fans as well. I hope that that's the case. I already did an entire video talking about this decision. I went into articles where the actor and the actor's dad spoke out against the show, and spoke out in interviews and all sorts of stuff. But it's hard to. Oh, a stapler right here. I was actually wrapping like Christmas gifts earlier, and I was like looking for stuff to. I didn't have any tape. I was like, oh, stapler. So anyway, I think if we take out the fact, like if we just forget that Carl passes in the mid-season finale, or will pass. I mean, he won't die till the mid-season premiere, and he'll have his final words before Rick or somebody has to put him down. Dude, that's gonna be such an emotional episode. Freaking Michonne and Rick reacting to Carl being bitten and really accepting the fact that he's gonna die. Like, dude, that's gonna be nuts. Like, you're gonna have like a broken Rick, like another, like a season 3 Rick when Lori died. Like, this is gonna. I mean, this time he's in the middle of fighting a war. He really didn't know. He didn't know at the time. He didn't know the governor or any of that when Lori died. But this time he's literally in the middle of a war, and he's probably gonna try to at least originally channel his anger at Negan. Now that Carl is gone, which again just feels so wrong to say, but at the same time it happened and you have to get over it. So Gimple did say that the first 4 episodes of this season were going to be action intensive, and that they were going to blow people away in terms of production and all that stuff. And I think if I was to say what my favorite episode of this season, I definitely think it's episode 4, Some Guy, which really was King Ezekiel's episode. It was so cool because you had this character who believed so much in his people, who had an entire personality and image of a king, like a Shakespearean king built around the fact that he could protect his people and lead them into the next, into a charge, like some sort of like Henry the Fifth kind of historical battle, like St. Crispin's Day kind of thing, like whoever sheds their blood with me will be my brother kind of thing. And he was so confident that all of his people were going to live, and then that 50 caliber just mows them down. And the episode of him watching some of them turn, like some of these people we knew, one of those guys was the first Kingdom soldier we ever saw at the end of season 6. We just get the extermination of so many of the Kingdomers, and Shiva as well. And if you had read the comics, you kind of knew that that was coming. But I think they just did a great job at portraying Ezekiel's emotions, and but so I like that a lot. I like the fact that they jumped right into Ezekiel's character and pretty much gave him his own episode. I mean, it starts with him literally putting on the headpiece, the hairpiece that he wears, and I really like how they just built this guy up as this image and then tore him down, and then you had that Napoleon Dynamite-esque looking savior dude, that wacko with the glasses who was just taunting him and kind of just saying what the audience kind of knew, that he was hiding behind this image, and just kind of exposing that and just breaking him down more or less. I mean, it was a different side of Ezekiel and just different events than you were used to. Whenever he was in battle prior to that, they were winning. I mean, in episode 3, you see so many strategies. Like, he's like, the saviors have numbers, but we have strategy. And you just see these scenes like where they dropped a prone, and then Carol's, they shoot in the woods, and then they pick up their guns in the grass and they shoot. Like, they had so many just masterful strategies. Like, they caught the saviors out in that open field near Gavin's outpost and just mowed them down. They really probably should have got to cover. I mean, they got killed by that 50 caliber gun because they were standing out in the middle of an open field, and probably wasn't the best decision to be standing there. You're in war. I mean, if you're in war, I don't think it's necessarily the best strategy to be, you should always be seeking cover somewhere secluded, or at least in a mobile vehicle moving. But they were just standing out in the open, and Ezekiel noticed too little too late. I did like that shot, the shot where all of his people jump on top of him to save him, and then in episode 4 you see them all like clasping hands saying we are one, and then the camera like pans up and it's an overhead shot, and then the shot it changes to all the people in a circle, but they're all dead and their body parts are blown off, and it was just, I don't know, it was a heavy episode, man. I liked it, though. I came out of episode 4 really liking just the breakdown of Ezekiel's character. And also in that episode, you had the chase scene with Daryl and Rick against the guys with the guns. And so, you added some diversity. You had Carol's antics in there. And so it was a good, well-rounded episode. And then you had that with, in episode 5, you had that with Negan as well. You had Negan and Gabriel. We saw a softer side of Negan opening up about him, and how he acted in the past, kind of why the sanctuary was run the way it was. We got the flashback with the meeting between Negan and the lieutenants, and like what happened right before Rick brought the herd to the sanctuary, which was kind of cool. So, from beginning to start, it was really, the season started with them trapping the saviors at the sanctuary, and then it ended with them breaking out, and then counterattacking, basically. And now they're on the run, and they're trying to fortify the hilltop, from all reports and all previews that I've seen. Some people might say that they dragged it out a little bit, but, it was a good strategy. It was, they trapped the main base, and then they wanted to take out all the outposts. And it was cool, we revisited some locations, like the satellite station, which was repopulated with new saviors, like the guy that pissed himself intentionally, who did end up dying at the end of the mid-season finale. And friggin' Jesus this season, Jesus and Carl, out of nowhere, just the total moral compasses of this show now, basically saying, we can't kill them, to the fight where Jesus actually fought Morgan in a freaking jiu-jitsu-like fight, which was really cool to see, because those are two people who know martial arts, so it was almost like, it was kind of like a treat for the fans to see two people who were, martial art intensify, training to be fighting. So it was a treat, more or less. But I know a lot of people. I saw comments and people saying like, I hate that Jesus is acting like this, and people are fine with Morgan going into berserk mode. Once again, reactivating that crazy switch. It was that those episodes with the fighting again. I feel like it was good combat, but at the same time, there was just a level of epicness from it that maybe I was missing a little bit. For me, like I'm trying to think back, and it did feel intense because there was just so much action. There was just action against just all the outposts. I don't know how many saviors they kill from the outposts, but they must have killed a decent number. And I would like for that topic to maybe be opened up. I'm thinking actually now that we got Morales in episode 2, which was just I said this in the Carl video. It was Morales coming back and then Carl dying were the two wild cards that I never thought that they would do this mid-season. Like, I knew there would be some action, some deaths. Like I probably knew Shiva was dying going into this, and I knew like some side characters like Eric were gonna die, but I just didn't think that they could kill an A-lister and like bring a character that hasn't been back since season 1. So they kill a character. They actually like kill Morales in the very next episode, which for me I was like, what was the point? He served to have one conversation to humanize Rick a little bit, and it was like fan service to like bring back a character and be like, oh yeah, he somehow came from Atlanta all the way to Virginia. The Saviors found him, I don't know, hundreds of miles away or whatever. I don't know. I would have liked to have him around for a bit more. Maybe Morales sees the light or something. So I don't know. It's conflicting to think about because again, like it felt fast, but then you had some slower episodes. Episode 5, episode 6 was kind of all over the place. Like instead of doing bottle episodes, they really more or less did they had everything in every episode. They didn't make it so that there was nothing left out. So like people were complaining where episode 6 of last season only had Tara in it, and it was just Tara at the Oceanside. People were like, well, that's just milking the episodes, and it's making them longer for no reason. And so I think they were like, okay, so this season, almost every scene, you had multiple characters in different locations. So I think that they fulfilled that. I mean, think of episode 2. You had multiple battles. You had the battle at the satellite station. You had the battle with the Alexandrians outside the outpost that Rick and Daryl go to when Rick goes inside. And then there's also the conflict outside with Aaron and the Alexandrians. And then there's Morgan and the people in the satellite station. And then you still have some scenes at the hilltop. Like, it's just like, bouncing everywhere. But I think that they're assuming that everyone got acclimated to these characters in end of season 6 and 7. And they're like, okay, well, now that you know who they are, like, let's just run with the fact that you know that information, and then you can just see them either fighting each other or having brief, abbreviated conversations. I mean, like, some people said it was almost to the point where... But, again, like, the show creators can't win, because some people were like, oh, episode 6 was too all over the place, because you had Carl in the woods with Sadiq, and then you had Rick going to the junkyard people, and then you had Daryl back at the, trying to blow up in a hole in Sanctuary with Rosita and Tara, but then Rosita and Michonne go to that outpost where the people, they have those music speakers, and she blows up the guy with the RPG. It's just like, it was just a lot. And then you had the hilltop. You had, Maggie throwing Gregory in jail. Like, you just, in one episode, it was one episode, and it was just bopping all over the place. But the thing is, for me, like, you get a lot of plot that way, and I think it was structured in a way where you could logically follow the events that were going through. So I didn't, I'm a fan of that instead of bottling up the episode, because then it feels like you're making up story and scenarios and pieces just to fill a time slot. And with commercials, it can feel frustrating waiting for nothing to happen. But, it is what it is. Again, but like that kind of jumping around and dealing with multiple communities, it kept the show on its toes and it kept it interesting. At least I think, in my opinion. So for me, I like that about this half season. Like, I liked the battles. Like, I think some of the action scenes were really cool. Like, Rick fought that guy, you know, the father of the little baby Gracie. Like, that fight one-on-one was really cool. Rick's fight against the Walker was also really cool. You know, I would have liked if the battle at the Sanctuary had a little bit more casualties, because all they do is just, they shoot the windows, and then Rick blows up the RV. And even then, like, the RV blows up and then the screen goes to black. I would have liked to have seen the RV explode and then it takes the chain with it, like the gate, and it blows up some zombies and some guys get. Like, I would have just liked to have seen an outro, like you know, a panned out shot of it exploding. Instead, it explodes and the screen goes to black. It's like, well, I would have liked to have seen, you know, I know we see the aftermath, but at the same time, like, I would have liked to have seen the full explosion and everything. You know, I know Negan mentioned that he wasn't going to have his guys fight at the Sanctuary battle, but it would have been cool to see a few casualties in the window. But, you know, all you do is you see a shot of them just shooting up the windows. And I don't know if that's just because they want to wreck the Savior's home, or if it's just because they're trying to make noise to attract the walkers. So, I don't know. Again, you know, the action was done well for the most part, but sometimes, you know, either people had, you know, infinite ammo and they were just, you know, reloading every now and then. But I think for a show, like, they don't want to waste time with that. Like, oh, we don't want to waste time showing them reloading and changing weapons. But I think if it's done right, like, if it's done, like, in the right combat scenarios, maybe they run out of ammo and a guy's charging them and they have to, like, take their gun or something. I don't know. You can easily work it into the action of the scene without having it be too out of place. So there's all of that. But again, like, it was a decent half of the season, and it's hard not to factor in my decision to like this season with, you know, what happened with Carl, because now it's just like I've been worrying so much about the future of the show, which is something, you know, I might make a vlog about that, but I'll probably do that when I make, like, my second half predictions. But there's just this huge worry for me, like, what are they going to do with the show now with Carl not being in there? I just hope that the show can keep its level of quality, and also that people aren't going to leave it. Like, you know, there is a petition out right now to to fire Scott Gimple, which is, it's not going to happen. But, you know, people did this, like, when previous characters were killed off. They're like, have a petition so that they come back. It's like, if they're getting their brain smashed in or they're getting shot, like, I really don't know how you're putting them back in the show, unless it was like a dream from Rick's perspective, which is, like, the biggest running joke. Like, what if Rick just wakes up in the hospital, it's all a dream? Like, just stupid shit like that. Like, it was like, whatever. That's what we thought with the trailer. Season 8 trailer tricked me with that freaking flash forward scene, which is now even more of a dream because, again, Carl is in that flash forward, and he's obviously confirmed to be dead. So I don't understand how that flash forward makes any sense. But we'll do that in predictions later. I'm trying to think. I mean, you know, this half season didn't have, in my opinion, I didn't feel like it had the hype of previous ones, but at the same time, I still enjoyed it. I watched all of these episodes, you know, as soon as they started, 9 o'clock Sunday nights, you know, and I'm still keeping track of the story and coming back and wanting to know what happened. So, you know, it's, for me, I'm still locked in, and, you know, I give this, I don't know, a solid 9 if I were to rate it. The half, it's good, you know. Again, it had the right amount of action, but with also some slower character moments. Again, like, you have those first 4 episodes, which are really action heavy, and then you have 5 and 6, or maybe 5, they slow it down, they focus on Negan in the Sanctuary, and then 6, you slow it down a little bit more, you have some of the, like, the talking dynamics, and then 7, you also have a little bit of that, but then there's some action mixed in there. And then 8 is the consequences of some of the decisions they made previous, and yeah, and now we are left off with this, and then, you know, you see the reaction from everybody kind of clashing together, and then we go from there, basically. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is just like me reviewing the first half of Season 8. Again, I know buzz for the show isn't what it used to be, and, you know, there's just a lot of different feelings swirling around out there. I'm trying to keep track of them all. You know, even on my comments, like, I see another comment section, like Trev Trev Chan2, who's like one of the biggest YouTubers for Walking Dead, who I follow. You know, I see comments on his videos and I see comments on mine of just people who aren't happy with the direction the show's going and aren't happy with Gimple and what he's doing. So I don't know. You gotta, you know, Gimple's been running this since season 4, and you know, people can't deny that, you know, they liked seasons 5 and 6, and so, you know, you gotta respect the guy. He's been keeping this ship running for years now, keeping the gears turning, and if he thought that there was some reason for this, maybe Chandler actually did want to go to college and just didn't admit it. Or maybe they just weren't impressed with his acting ability. I don't know. We can't really speculate beyond what articles have been released from the actors and the showrunners. It's not worth it. Just move on and accept it, and we'll just, you know, he'll have one more episode in the mid-season premiere, and we'll see what happens. What happens next? Maybe we'll get some more answers. Like that's the thing. Like in February when the mid-season premiere airs, like Chandler Riggs is supposed to be on Talking Dead. The show where they talk about the episode after. So I'm interested in that interview to see like what he has to say, because I mean this is his last Walking Dead thing ever, basically, unless he goes to those Walker Stalker cons. So, you know, maybe he'll have some more information to spill, more than what he said in some of the interviews. So I don't know. We'll see, but for now that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you. If you have any ideas or suggestions for, you know, video concepts or whatever, just let me know, and we'll go from there. All right? Peace.